As onderwerp vanoggend baie kortliks net reflekteer op die woord van die Here in Engels to be stretched out. Die agtergrond van visvang, kan ek net 'n aanleiding kry hoeveel van u van myself vis? Is daar mense wat visvang? Daar sien ek 'n broer wat visvang. Hierdie kant, is daar iemand wat visvang? Is dit maklik om vis te vang? Hy skat sy kop, hy sê nee, dit is nie maklik om vis te vang nie. Ek het al saam met my man gaan vis vang, of gegaan. Ok, hy praat van hengel. En die daad toe my ma nog in lewe na in Vredenburg, en dan vang hy altyd vis, en dan sal hy terugkom met stompneus, sommer 'n klomp. Maar deesdae praat hy van hengel. Maar dan kom die vis saam in die stoel. En so, dan het ek altyd gesien hoe dat hy trap vir mossels en so aan. En jy moet pomp vir wurms, vir jou byt, die goeders wat jy moet hê. So ek wil vir u 'n storieetjie vertel van 'n seentjie wat gesê het, killing worms did not sound fun. It is not fun. In fact, it sounded downright cruel, he said. I could not imagine forcing a fish hook through the slim body of an innocent worm for sport or for fun. And so this young boy of 7 was invited to spend the day with his uncle on his fishing boat. He had never gone fishing before and loved his uncle so much, so the invitation was immediately accepted. But before they left, he made sure that he was ready for the day. And he had to put the worms on the hook, and this young boy was not happy. He was scared that his soul was in jeopardy, or whatever a 7-year would think about of this endangered soul that he is now putting that hook through. And then his uncle asked him, "Can you do it, kid?" And of course, he wanted to go in the boat and spend time with his uncle more than he was concerned with his own soul. And of course, then he said yes. Then he explains the day. The first 30 minutes, he said, was very, very exciting. He said, I got to help my uncle to steer the boat, and I learned about my uncle's saucy speech habits. And then we started fishing, and I was tasked with baiting the hook. And then it got exceptionally boring, he said. We had to wait long periods for bites, and several times we failed to land our catch. Nou, ek het al so gestaan en dan sien ek hoe die dingetjie na bo, gaan die hele tyd so, en dan word daar ingetrol en wat ook al, maar daar kom net niks in. And he said, I learned that day that fishing is not my thing. There's a lot of preparation, waiting and disappointment in fishing. And this is exactly where we enter the text. In a moment of frustration for these fishermen. They have been fishing all night, but to no avail. They came home empty-handed. And they are tired and disappointed. So they just wanted to go home. But fishing, brothers and sisters, is something of a resurrection appearance story. This chapter of John is likely an addendum written by another, but the questions of the origin should not keep us from the richness of these images. In a very similar story we find in Luke, in the Gospel of Luke, which was a call story. Simon Peter and Thomas, Nathanael, Zebedee's son, and 2 other disciples were together fishing in the Sea of Galilee. And they have returned to their previous task or calling and head back to shore with empty nets after some time fishing. And there, when they came back, they saw Jesus. And his call to them is to go back and try again. And he gives them specific instructions as to the next step. He tells them to put the nets out on the right side of the boat. And they follow these instructions. And while the Lucan story is rightly called a commissioning story to go out, this appearance to the disciples is the fourth, if counting Mary Magdalene, who was not a disciple officially, resurrection appearance story in John. And in this setting, we experience a recommissioning of sorts. Now, the amazing thing to me is that the disciples did not know who he was at first. Earlier on in the service, I said that the resurrection day is only the beginning of the Easter season. So when they saw Jesus, they did not initially recognize him. Was it their desperation for a catch, a love of a task, or a desire for success, a sense of specialness of this man calling them to return to their task? Or was it something else? And whatever it was at that particular moment, they ventured back out and found huge success. So initially they were not sure of who this man was that's commissioning them to go back. And then what happened? Their nets were overflowing. They caught 153 fish. And why specifically that number? Many brothers and sisters have guessed, but it may simply imply all of the community of the believers that were there. The number for most simply implies that many were caught. They had breakfast with a man they now know as Jesus. It is a Eucharistic event. And that means they once again sat with Jesus. Despite the lack of wine, and that no Eucharistic celebration consisted of fish previously. And it is at this meal that they receive a recommissioning from the Lord. Here they are reminded who they are and what they are supposed to do. Here they are reminded of their original calling, of what it is specifically they need to do. They are challenged to get back in the boat and try again, in more ways than one. Pastor Wiseman, Karen Wiseman, told that a young student was monitored by a supervising pastor while out knocking on doors during an evangelism campaign. He asked, "Mike, you look like a man knocking on doors, hoping and praying no one would answer the door." And that's how many of us at times when Jesus calls us to be disciples and to cast out our nets again and again for the catch Jesus calls us to attempt. Sometimes we are there, but we are not there. The disciples did as Jesus suggested while we say, "Please, let no one be home." Sometimes we go out, maybe we are afraid, and then we also pray, "Let no one be home, because I don't know what I will receive, how I will be received, or what I will get." Or sometimes, "Oh wow, I hope no one asks me about my faith." Following the call of Jesus means putting your nets out, putting your nets back into the sea, even though you are tired and had no success. It means knocking on another door, even though you are hoping against hope that no one answers. Liewe brigadelede, in besonder offisiere, u is vandag voorgestel. Maar die taak van die Here wat op u rus, is om die evangelie te gaan verkondig. Dit is nie net 'n lekker by mekaar koms op 'n Dinsdag en 'n Maandag nie, maar dit is om die evangelie deur u offisierskap, deur wat u doen, uit te gaan dra. En so baie keer sal u gaan en niemand sal antwoord nie. Baie keer sal u vra, kom sluit by ons aan, maar niemand sal kom nie. En dit is die boodskap wat Jesus aan hierdie vissermanne gegee het. Gaan net weer uit. Maar wat sê hy vir hulle? Hierdie keer gooi jy jou net aan die regterkant uit. Wat beteken dit? Dit beteken, liewe broer en suster, dat u teruggaan. Heroorweeg die strategie. Gaan kyk na waar ons verkeerd gaan. Gaan kyk na wat ons beter kan doen, sodat ons suksesvol kan wees. Dit beteken, soos die kerk, hierdie kerk se naam sê, Verenigende Gereformeerde Kerk. Die gereformeerde gedeelte sê vir ons, gaan terug. Gaan terug. Gaan herbesin. Gaan verander. Moenie, omdat ons 100 jaar in bestaan is, verwag dat goed wat 100 jaar gelede gewerk het, vandag steeds nog moet werk nie. Ons gooi nie oorboord die waarde van wat ons het nie, maar ons moet ook verander, sodat ons die mens kan bereik. Die taak wat God op die skouers lê, is om uit te gaan. Gaan gooi jou nette in, sodat jy mense kan inbring. En as ons nie bereid is om dit te doen, die sal ons taak heeltemal te vergeefs wees. Baie van die brigades gooi. Baie van die brigades en companies bestaan nie meer nie. As gevolg van baie dinge. Maar vandag, hier in Sarepta, is daar 'n brigade. Die Here seën die gemeente met 'n brigade, en u taak is, saam met alle evangeliebedienaars, om die woord van die Here te neem na hulle wat dit nog nie gehoor het nie. Following the call of Jesus means putting your nets back into the sea, even though you are tired at times, even though there's no success. It means knocking again and again on doors, even though you are hoping that someone will not answer. Use the example of, for me, jy weet toch een rekkie, ne? An elastic band. What is the purpose of an elastic band? To tie something. And stretching. Very important, eh? Stretching. Before you can tie, you need to stretch it. And what does an elastic band do? It would, if it's not used for the purpose it was designed, it will get old. En dan gebeur, hy raak oud, hy raak so taai en hy breek, hy kraak en hy werk dan nie. The elastic band must be stretched in order to utilize its full potential. Stretch and protect. Stretch and keep together. Stretch beyond what is known, what is comfortable, and reach the unchurched. Change the story. Stretch out means today that we go again, that we really go beyond who we think we are and place our trust in the Lord, because it is His service, it is His word that we are taking outside. Onthou die rekkie, as hy nie gestrek word nie, bereik hy nie sy volle potensiaal nie. As u nie meer gaan leer nie, as u nie meer gaan neem en ontvang nie, beteken dit u gaan net so bly in die vorm wat u vandag geïnstalleer is. En dit is nie wat die Here wil hê nie. Die Here wil hê dat u moet groei. En wanneer ons groei, dan bars ons uit ons nate uit. This is the kind of text that allows for some creative discussions of what church and ministry might look like if we drop our nets on the other side and if we really follow Jesus. But you need to be attuned to your particular community to be true to what this call might look like, lived out in your context. So for you, it is the brigade, and in that brigade, you are guided by the church order and the reglement according to the church order. So in terms of that context, that is your context in which you will operate. The second part of this passage is related to Peter and his relationship to Jesus. Peter is mentioned first as one of the disciples on the shore in the earlier part of the pericle. And this now allows for a conversation of great importance. Jesus reinstates Peter into the fold by asking him 3 times to take care of his sheep. 3 times. And we all know what Peter did. Peter's importance is being reinforced and his death foretold in verse 19. So don't leave behind the one who made you angry. Don't leave behind the one who knows more than you. Don't leave behind the one that can lead you to greater things in the brigade. 3 times, Jesus asked Peter to feed the sheep. 3 times. Jesus did not give up on Peter. And therefore, you should not give up on your members. You should not give up on your calling. As this exchange occurs, the other disciples who had been so present in the fishing scene disappear. And this happens because the church, without Jesus physically present, needed Peter as the rock Jesus intended him to be. The call to feed my sheep, to love and to lead Jesus' followers is an important moment for next step in the church to come. It is absolutely important. Geliefdes, to be stretched out means that we don't stay the same. Are you ready for that to come? Are you ready to be changed? Are you ready to be renewed? Are you ready to be refreshed in this particular that you are in? Preaching familiar texts like these can bring such amazing creative possibilities. And so embrace the reality of the fisherman doing something that might seem absurd to others, and one who denied the Lord to become the rock that leads the church. One who denied Jesus became the rock of the church. Moenie mekaar onderskat. Moenie mekaar se gawes onderskat nie. Want deur u gawes kom alles bymekaar en is daar iets absoluut kreatiefs besig om te gebeur in die brigade, maar ook in die huis van die Here. Versterk mekaar deur Jesus alleen. Moenie staat maak op die eie kragte nie. En soos gesê, gaan terug, doen deeglike werk, doen deeglike beplanning, herbesin en gaan kyk, moet ons nie dalk ons net aan die regterkant uitgooi nie. Mag die Here u seën in u diensbaarheid. Mag die Here gee dat hierdie jaar vorentoe vir u 'n absolute uitleef van u geloof in Christus wees in die brigade. Almal van u, nie net Sarepta nie, wat in die brigade staan, Mag alles wat voor lê, konferensies, alle beplanning, die verskillende traveling that you will be on the roads in June, may God bless you in particular, and may at those conferences, you also speak up about the net that should be on the right side. Die Here seën u. Amen.